Now to politics, more politics. House Republicans are gearing up to introduce legislation later this month to repeal a series of Obama administration regulations. Joining us now, the man leading the way, House Majority Leader, Congressman Kevin McCarthy. I like calling you leader. Leader, but do you ever feel weird when people say, hey, leader? And it's like, that's you know, a lot of responsibility, isn't it? You up to the task, leader?
We're up to the task, but nobody in my house calls me leader.
Yeah, I know. We know who the leader, anybody who's married knows who the real leader in the house is.
I don't make that mistake at home. No.
So what happens, so what time is the swearing in? Is that at like noon on the 20th?
No, I think we do it before noon.
Is it 11:15? So when does this start with the deregulation? Honestly,
well, we're already starting. Now, you know, Congress and Senate is already sworn in, and you've got to think about what has transpired in the last 8 years. Just in the last 5 years, there's been 82 major rulings, and the definition of a major ruling is new regulation that costs at least $100 million has been enacted. Just since the last election, meaning just this November, the president has put up 145 new regulations. He has enacted more than $16 billion of new regulations just since November. So there's a couple ways to deal with this. One, you've got to bring back the Article 1 powers of the Constitution. So we have Regulatory Accountability Act being voted on this week that brings greater transparency, and it tells the agencies to pick the one that costs the least amount. We did the REINS Act, which means no major ruling. Those regulations that cost more than $100 million can be enacted without a vote of the House and the Senate. So the people could actually have a voice in this process. Then the next step will be a Congressional Review Act. This is a bill that was put into place back in the 90s that allows Congress to take a look at any regulation that has been imposed in the last 60 legislative days, that we can move to repeal that with 51 votes in the Senate, and that all becomes privileged around January 30th. So keep watching from January 30th, those first 2 weeks in February. You're going to see a lot of those bills, meaning Congressional Review Act, CRAs, being moved across the House and the Senate, because we've got to get this country working again. And I think if you look at regulations and you look at tax reform, we really can move this economy in a new direction.
With great trepidation, many Republicans are looking at what happens with Obamacare. That seems to be the conventional wisdom right now, leader, is that somehow, you know, the Republicans in the past, different times, have snatched, you know, defeat from the jaws of victory in different ways. They always seem to find a way. But I was watching McGurn last night on a competing network, the guy from the Journal. I mean, he really looks at this as an unbelievable opportunity where, if done right, not only does it release some of the shackles from the private sector that we know Obamacare is put a fifth of the economy. You know, a fifth of the economy was taken under government auspices. So you get rid of that. So there's a benefit there. And then if you do it right, where you actually improve on what we had before Obamacare and Obamacare itself, I mean, it could be a huge boon for the Republican Party. Do you feel like it's in the hands of the right people to do this right now? Who's spearheading that? I very do.
There's a number of people who've been working on this for a number of years. Now, you know, Tom Price, who's a congressman, who's nominated to become HHS secretary. He understands this backwards and forwards. I thought that was a tremendous pick for the Trump administration. He's going to go through confirmation. Hopefully, he will be sworn in on the 20th as well and confirmed. That would be a unique ability for us to start this work. And remember, if you do nothing, what will happen? Well, your premiums have gone up. Obamacare created 23 co-ops. 18 of them have already collapsed. You've got, in more than 1,022 counties in America, and there's only more than 3,000 counties, there's only one option. So you've lost choice. So you want more people to come back into the marketplace, so there's greater choice. You want to bring the premiums down. There is great opportunity here to make America healthy. One more time. And you can do it with Republicans and Democrats, but this idea that you can't deal with this, that you should just take a step back and wait, I think is wrong. If you wait, this whole healthcare system is going to collapse upon itself.
Yeah. Leader, other big issue of the moment, the border adjustment tax. Where do you land on that right now?
Well, I look at it from an overall tax reform. I want to see tax reform because we have to get this country moving again. And the one thing that I take from this election, this middle class has been left behind for too long. You got to get growth in this country, and tax reform can make that happen. The border adjustment tax is a way to deal with that, to focus on manufacturing and other jobs within America. And think about it. We tax different than the rest of the world. The rest of the world builds something in their country, refunds the tax from that country as they send it over to America. America taxes you when they build it and sends it to another country and gets taxed again.
But do you worry about increased costs here in the United States for middle class people who go to Walmart and are likely to pay more?
Well, I look at the overall, too. If you're lowering the rate and you're taking away the deductions, I think it's going to be a level playing field. I don't think you can look at border adjustment just by itself. I think you have to look at it at the overall tax reform.
Okay.
And that's the way I'm approaching this.
The other thing I wanted to touch on, we spoke to Senator Roger Wicker earlier this morning about the ethics office and these nominees and appointees and the hearings that they're having. The ethics office has suggested that the Trump transition team has effectively slow-walked them in terms of the information that they've gotten on some of these nominees. He said it's actually the ethics office that's slow-walking Congress and the Senate. What's true?
Well, I'm not in the Senate, so I don't see it all, but I will tell you this. We should create a government. Yeah, we want strong ethics, but we all should not punish somebody because they've been successful out in the economy. I want the very best people to work in government. I don't want government to be large, but I want the very best people, and I don't want to eliminate people from that opportunity. I will tell you, people are giving up a great deal to come for the service of their country, and I want to see those people be able to do it. But I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. No,
Congressman, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. I think that just on this specific issue, though, of who is slow-walking whom, if you will, what is truly happening behind the scenes, because there clearly is some debate about it, at least according to the conversation we had this morning.
Well, I would limit on the senator side. The Senate has all confirmation. House doesn't have any power behind that, so I have not been engaged in that part of it. So it'd be unfair for me to judge, but I know Mr. Wicker very well, and I would go on to his side.
So, Congressman, to end things here, so, first it was, Michigan recounts, and I don't know. Then it was talk to the electors. We're going to get those guys to switch their vote. Then it was, WikiLeaks, Russians, delegitimate, popular vote, blah, all this stuff. Now it's going to be these appointments, and they're going to focus on one, probably. Do they have a chance of borking someone, to use a term that was a Supreme Court nominee? It wasn't a cabinet post, but do they have a chance of doing that? Or someone, can you just say to Chuck Schumer, who used the words "you lost," and it's going to be my way? I know some other guy used that word. Is that the way it's going to be?
I think Rahm Emanuel used somebody to that extent. But look, the way I look at it, Joe Biden, when we were doing the electoral college inside Congress, when people were trying to object but couldn't, and it was Democrats doing it, Joe Biden said to them, "It's over." And I think that is, you may go through the different processes of getting through losing an election, and I've been on that side before. But I think now is the time is when you come together, put this country first. And I believe all the nominees, what I see today, get through. Remember, the Democrats are the ones who changed the rules where it only takes 51 votes to get them through. And they're going through the process now. And the sooner that individuals get in, the sooner we can start working. Why do you want to hold up their ability to do the job?
I'm going to miss Joe. Joe will still be around, I know. Like when he told the president-elect to grow up. I guess he doesn't want to kick Trump's ass in a bar anymore. I think, wasn't that his line? He wanted to kick his ass in a bar?
But behind a barn or something. I don't know.
I don't know. So maybe they both need to grow up. I don't know. Andrew,
later, before you go, though, we can't let. Where did you sleep last night? Because we have a picture of you from our last conversation. From our last conversation when I was with you.
Oh, okay. Oh,
this is where he normally sleeps.
That's exactly where I slept.
Can you see that image? That's you on the couch. This is where. And I thought it was fascinating. This is where he sleeps. He's literally on his couch.
My job is to work. I slept there, got up, went down, worked out, and ran over here to do the interview.
God bless you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
I hope you got an okay. So we still got to get you a better bed than that couch, or at least a fold-out couch or something.
Next time, you should come and spend a day in the life of a congressman. I got another couch. You could stay over there.
Thank you, sir, for that.
I'm uncomfortable right now. I don't know.
Pillow fight.
I'm comfortable. We got a lot more ahead on Squawk Box this morning.